Suzuka International Raceway for the Japanese Grand Prix. Called correctly for the ISRL Tier 1 Championship. Just in time here, we've got the first set of drivers set up for you before we jump in. Here, let's actually jump on the Haas. Is that Muddock? No, that must be Scarlo. That's coming out on the out. Hang on a minute. My eyes deceive me. It's actually Vito who's probably going to be the first to start their flying laps. He's already coming around that hairpin. Too tightly, maybe not the best idea just because you might not start and ready to go. Here, let's put the telemetry on for qualifying. Who were not aware, we've got a full qualifying session here for the Tier 1 Championship. So we're into Q1. We've got 17 drivers on the grid now. Here, I'll run them through just since we're early on. We've got, starting from the top, ISRL Pretzels, Jer, Dan Murphy, 92, Sweet Crown, 19, the championship leader. His teammate today, ISRL Lewis, ISRL Carter, Gernman as well, Maduck, Blin Machine, Knight, Vito, Izats, Astunik, Sophion, Jamie 1, the deck, and Scarlo, as it appears Vito is just starting his flying lap, so let's see what he can do to kick things off here. He's going to come around the first turn here, and he's approaching this first portion, the famous S section here, so we got a nice little onboard here. I don't know if I did that on purpose or not, but either way, let's watch the onboard through the S section. It's a pretty nice line that he's got over here. Nothing too crazy. It is fairly easy to lose it on those S's. Just clip the curbs and completely lose it there. A little bit of lost the rear end almost there coming out of that turn, and then he approaches the hairpin again. It's a bit of a tricky hairpin. Doesn't look too crazy, but it can be a lot more challenging if you're not prepared for it. This nice little curving back straight here into Sector 2. Very difficult to take a good line around that portion of the track, and then you come into a very tricky. Starts as a bit of a not really tight, but then it kind of tightens up right at the end for that turn there. A little bit similar to what we saw. I believe that's Malaysia, if I recall correctly. Coming around 130R, taking it flat in 8th gear as he normally should, and he's coming around the last chicane here to finish his lap. And let's see what kind of time he can put up. Let me actually get the stream opened up on my home has to say about the stream. Now Vito, he crossed the line first. That's a 130.0. Now let's see as more other drivers are crossing, going to start crossing the line soon enough. We'll kind of see what kind of times we can see here. Here, let's ride with Lewis. I believe he's reserving, taking over for Pube's seat this week, as Scarlo crosses the line and sets a 130.9. Oh, actually, I completely forgot to put the tire details on. A little bit important for qualifying, I gotta say. Now, here we go. We'll put the fitted tire on, at least for the moment. Alrighty, so let's see. So we've got Gurman actually sitting on provisional pole here. So that's a 129.625 in that Red Bull car. I'm expecting to see a lot from the Red Bull car. They got a lot of show last week around the Brazilian Grand Prix. Lewis sets a 130.3 on the medium tires, so pretty solid lap from him. I just noticed Scarlo, he set it on the hard tires, so probably not the pace we're truly going to see from Scarlo, but either way, we've got lots of time to go in the qualifying session. I see his teammate, actually, Sucrown 19, coming around the straight. It looks like he's coming up to a bit of traffic. Does a good job there, the Toro Rosso does, in getting out of the way. But yeah, Sucrown 19, he's the championship leader, and he's kind of he hasn't really been competed with, I have to say, if I'm being quite honest with you. Sorry, I was just taking a quick peek. Apparently the stream was lagging there for a little bit. Got a tiny little bit better. Oh, here, hang on. Let's actually do that, so I'm not actually watching the stream on my computer as I'm actually streaming it here. That might help out a little bit, but there we go. Sucrown 19, he sets a 129.1 on the medium tire, so coming out of the gates flying is the championship leader. And yeah, like I was saying, You know, I haven't seen too much competition for Sweet Crown 19 so far, but hopefully we can see some competition here around Suzuka. I do remember last time as we see Pretzels, yeah, right there, clipping the curb, taking a bit of damage on his front wing, and there goes his lap. Unfortunate for him. He's gonna have to trek all around the Suzuka circuit now with a broken front wing, get into the pits as soon as possible, and you know, get that wing change and get back out on a lap. Now here, it looks like Sophion is just crossing the line, and he actually takes a pole position for this Q1 session away from Sweet Crown 19. He did set it on the soft tires, but a 129.082 is a bit of a solid time, I do have to say. I expect to see Sophion competing against Sweet Crown. He's always been up there every race so far. Just can't quite seem to match the pace, but hopefully we can see some solid pace from all the drivers, and maybe give Sweet Crown 19 a bit of a run for his money. But yeah, so we're kind of in a bit of a, looks like here Stunek is gonna cross the line. I guess he's just starting a flying lap now, so let's actually ride on board with him for the moment in that Toro Rosso car. So Stunek, I believe, has had a bit of bad luck in the in this season 2 championship so far, but that's not to say he doesn't have the pace. Quite the contrary, he's got lots of pace. So you know, I expect a lot of good things from him around this Suzuka circuit in that Toro Rosso car. So it is a bit of the the sister company for the Red Bull company. They're always known for the aero, and look at that, he sets a purple first sector. I'll be honest, I'm not too sure if that's just a personal purple or if he actually set a purple sector for the whole session combined. But you know, we'll stick with the onboard for him. He's on his flying lap. Let's see what he can do here. Let's actually get that let's get that out of the way so we can see a bit more of the screen here. Coming around, nearing this very tricky turn. It is easy to clip the curb on the outside, completely lose the momentum, and actually kill your flying lap there. If you can see on the mini-map, it looks like the Red Bulls here, that's Knight and Gernman, kind of helping each other out on the out lap. Trying to get some tow for one another, yeah, we'll have to see. Is that here? Let's quickly jump. Yeah, so that's Knight looking to get the tow from Gernman, but oh no, Stunek right at the end of the lap completely loses it going into that final chicane, and now he's gonna have to wait for the other cars to go through. That last chicane, it is very tricky as a braking zone because you're coming in so fast after coming out of 130R. And yeah, look at that. Knight, he's slowing down a little bit, coming around the chicane. We'll see. Starting his flying lap on the mediums. But let's actually, is Gernman, is he going into the pits or is he doing another lap here? Yeah, so it looks like Gernman's actually going around for another lap. So right on board with him, at least for now. Dan Murphy, he actually sets a 128.6 to go fastest in this Q1 session in that Racing Point car. So pretty solid lap from him, and you know, like I was saying, maybe Dan Murphy is going to be the guy to give Sweet Crown 19 a bit of a run for his money here around Suzuka. We'll have to keep an eye on that as more and more drivers are setting times. The deck, I just noticed that here, the deck isn't even doing qualifying. So I'm not too sure what happened with him. Knight, as he invalidates his time, but he's on the mediums, so I think he's probably going to go around at least another lap, I guess I would say. Maybe he's going to try to catch up to Gernman, get a bit of tow from there. But let's jump to Blind Machine as he's coming under the bridge, approaching Sector 2. He sets a purple Sector 1, so it's a probably a pretty good lap time for him so far. As he's coming around that hairpin there now, the swooping right-hander. Looks like he's taking a pretty good line from it from what I can see. Yeah, we'll keep an eye. Blind Machine is a very fast driver. He's on the soft tires, so I expect a pretty good lap from him. 7.5 minutes to go in this first qualifying session. As well, there we go. Gernman, the extra use soft tires doesn't matter to him. He sets a 128.6, and he actually takes that provisional pole for Q1 at least away from Dan Murphy. Now let's see what Blind Machine can do as he's coming around the last few corners, about to cross the line now. Let's see. So he sets a time of 129.6. good enough for 6th, so good enough to move on to Q2 at least for now. But we still have 7 minutes to go in this qualifying session. So let's actually jump back with Pretzels. Ooh, almost loses the back end at nearly the same spot where he broke his wing early on there. But yeah, keeps it there, so his lap still continues. Oh no, maybe a bit of a commentator's curse from him. Maybe I should keep quiet about the driving, because the back end on that Toro Rosso really isn't working for him, at least early on in the qualifying session. So they might have to tweak that a little bit. See if they can do a little bit of tweaking in time for the race, or maybe kind of adjust the throttle input a little bit, because at least early on for Pretzels, it doesn't look like that setup is working too well for him. Well, here he's actually going to get a tow here, as you can see on the screen from the parent Red Bull cars. That I believe that's Knight. Let's actually take a look. No, Knight's in the pits, so it's Gerdman probably looking to come into the pits. So I'll have to see if he's going to get out of the way, because this might actually hinder Pretzel's time a little bit, depending on how close they get. Maybe not, actually. It looks like they had just enough to get out of the way there. But here we go. Pretzels crosses the line, gets his first lap done. It's a 129.1, so pretty solid lap from him. That puts him into P6. Now let's see. Let's actually jump with Jamie 1. Jamie 1, like I said last week, he was really competing with Subaru 19 for a better part of the Season 1 of ISRL, but he's been a little bit quiet here in Season 2. But you know what, like Suzuka, it's a circuit. I expect to see good things from him, as I always do, and I'm sure everyone at home is probably expecting some good things from him too. And I'd like to see, a solid race from Jamie 1 today. Maybe you can compete with 3 Crown. If we can have a 3, 4, 5 car fight for P1 today around Suzuka. I mean, it's very tricky, as we saw in the other tiers. Anything can happen. These curbs around this track, and speaking from my own personal experience, these curbs are deadly around Suzuka. You can just clip one wrong curb, and there you go. In Sector 1 around the S's, as we saw with Pretzels early on, around that last turn, even 130R, if your tires are feeling it a little bit, it's easy to go wide, maybe lose it a little bit. Very easy to kind of miss your braking point around that last chicane and just completely lose any momentum you might have had, and that kind of kills your next lap too. But there we go. Jamie 1 sets a pretty solid lap, a 128.7, and that's good enough for P3 with about 4.5 minutes to go in qualifying. So let's actually jump let's see, somebody else, Vito on 3-lap old soft tires. So yeah, I guess he's looking to preserve his tires for the later qualifying sessions, but he's gonna have to watch out because he's sitting in P9. So yeah, Vito's sitting in P9, so for you can't be too careful here. Now let's jump with Jer. Jer hasn't set a time yet, and I believe, if I recall correctly, Jer actually won the Tier 4 race around Suzuka. If anybody in the chat, please correct me if I'm wrong on this. I do have the chat open, so I will see everybody chatting in the chat room here. But let's jump back to Jer on his flying lap right now. He's on the soft tires, sets that purple Sector 1. I actually do believe I've been seeing it all the time, so I think it's actually maybe a personal purple for him. Let's actually let's ride on board here. Let's jump with the onboard a little bit, coming around this pretty tricky turn here, as I can't stress enough. Does a good job clipping the curb and not putting too much gas on there early on, because that's a very easy way to lose the back end. Now he's going to probably go up into 8th gear soon to take 130R pretty flat. Very easy to do on the soft tires, just like that. Look at that. Now this is where it can be a little bit tricky for him, as I said, but he takes it pretty well. Cuts the curbs just enough to make it passable for the FIA. Takes a very nice line here, pops the DRS at a perfect time, and he actually sets up pole time, so you can hear the crowd going crazy for that, as he takes that Renault into pole for Q1. Now let's see, Knight is actually on a flying lap right now, coming around Sector 2. Let's keep an eye where Maduk is. Maduk actually invalidated his time, so let's jump back to Knight. And Lewis, he's actually out of the Q1 session. I'm not too sure what happened to him. Oh, there we go. 90 unfortunately invalidates his time again on the soft tires. So he still does not have a time set with 2 minutes to go in qualifying. So at this point, he's going to have to just go out and do another lap. I don't think he has enough time to go in, change the tires, come back out with, 2 minutes to go in this Q1 session. Now let's see. I can say, looking at the chat, Stunik, at least you're watching. Don't get to see the chat list. Oh no, Knight is actually diving into the pits, so I'll have to see if he's actually looking to start from the back of the grid or if he's going to try to really push it around. I mean, with a 128, he's going to have to hurry up to get those, to get those tires on. And there we go. Jamie won. He's retired from the session too. So we're seeing a few retirements now. I guess some drivers feeling comfortable with their Q1 session, and thinking that they can go about it. Now here we go. Maduck. Oh no, he's still on a red track. So I'm not too sure if he invalidated his next lap too. But that's very unfortunate for him, as he actually does not have a time set. So at least for now, it looks like he might not be able to make it through into Q2. Now let's see who else is on a flying lap. Now let's see, Sucrowd 19 looks like he's going around the S's as we get a very, very, very nice shot here. Approaching yellow flag. I think that's just the Toro Rosso. Maybe that's a Stunik there. Letting him through, but yeah, Sucrowd 19 looks like he's flying around the circuit. Takes a bit of curb there, but that's quite all right. No worries. Let's see what he does going around the hairpin. He's probably looking to improve on that 129.1. I'm sure he can, especially on those medium tires. But we'll have to see what kind of times he can put up here. As we're approaching the last 30 seconds of qualifying, at least from what we can see on stream. So yeah, it doesn't look like the likes of Knight, Carter. He's gonna have to hurry around the track if he wants enough time to set that flying lap. Actually, I think he's about to start his flying lap right now. So it seems like for the most part, everybody will get a lap time in, except for Knight. I'm not too sure why he dove into the pits when he invalidated that time, unless he actually invalidated his next lap too. Might as well save the tires. But let's see, Sucrowd 19, he crosses the line, and that's good enough for P6. So qualifying sessions. But now let's see, Carter, as he's coming around the S's now. Now let's see, actually no, Maduka around the S's. Here we go. Let's jump on a Stunik first. He hasn't set a time yet. He's on the soft tires. Looks to be a pretty decent lap for him as he's coming around the bendy portion, I guess I'll call it, due to lack of a better term. I can't remember what the turn is called. I'm not overly familiar with the turn names around Suzuka, or the turn numbers for that matter, so you'll have to bear with me a little bit. But yeah, he's coming, except for 130R, which Stunik is actually coming up to right about now. But yeah, so let's see what he can do. Takes it flat. He's only on ERS mode 3. So I guess he's preserving a little bit so he doesn't run out before the end of the lap. Because I know Suzuka, if you're on ERS mode 5, so Stunik crosses the line on, he's in P13 at least for now, but we'll have to see what Carter and Maduck can do. Let's actually jump with Maduck or Carter first. He's going to cross the line. That's good enough for a P11. Vito is done. He's in P12, so it looks like we're just waiting on Maduck to cross the line, so we'll see what kind of time he can put up on, or he goes into the pits, so he's not going to set a time either, sitting in P15. So we'll see who's going to be eliminated out of this Q1 session. So definitely the Deck, who unfortunately wasn't able to set a time. Knight wasn't able to set a time, and he's in 16th, so that's the end of his qualifying session, at least for him. Now, yeah, so we're just going to be waiting for the pit team to bring Maduck into the pit wall, and that'll be the end of qualifying 1. So like I was saying with the ERS, if you're on ERS mode 5 for the whole lap, you're actually going to run out of, you're actually going to be running out of the actual use of the ERS, for those of you who aren't aware. So there's a little D and an H at the bottom. And and those actually determine how much ERS you can use for the lap. But here we go. Dan Murphy, he's in P1 at the end of qualifying 1. Jaron Gurman right out the top 3. Now, if we go down the grid, let's see who is out. So it's just Knight and the Deck who are out of Q1. So Maduck, as much as he hadn't set a time, given he's in that that hot seat for P15, he will actually move on to Q2. So a bit of a mistake by Knight, I gotta say, for not just going around doing at least one more lap, just to set a banker lap for Q1. So I guess he's going to be watching the Q2 and Q3 from the pit wall, and definitely not where the Red Bull wants to start, unless he's got a bit of a strategy call that that we're not expecting. But yeah, so we're going to move on to Q2. It's the top 15 drivers now racing around for qualifying 2, looking to get a spot in that Q3 for the top 10 shootout. So we'll see what comes of it. If I recall correctly, we've got 15 minutes of qualifying 2. Yep, 15 minutes. It's not a lapped session, that's for sure. Now let's get everything set up again. The telemetry. I don't know why I can't pronounce that word properly half the time, but you'll have to bear with me. We'll put the fitted tire on. The fastest lap is the gap. Now let's see, and the lap data. Either way, and Stuenik, right off the bat, he's retiring from the session, so before his qualifying even starts, that's Stuenik's qualifying done just like that. Now let's see, is that Sweetcrow 19? No, that's Lewis, who's going to be the first on track, so we'll just ride with him at least for now, as he's going to go around on his out lap to start his flying lap. He's out there on the medium tires, so probably not the pace we're going to be expecting to see from Lewis, as we get a bit of an onboard through these the wonderful S section here at Suzuka. I know you either love this section or you hate this section. I actually transitioned. I used to despise going around that section, but as I did more practice, I actually started really enjoying it. If I'm being quite honest, but we'll have to see what kind of times they can put up here, because the top 10 will be moving on to the to qualifying 3 for that shootout in the that top 10 shootout for Q3 to determine who will start on pole. But still exciting for qualifying 2, especially to watch the who's going to be in 10th. Can anybody maybe inch in there in a P10, a P9, right at the end of the session, but we've got a long ways to go till that. But yeah, so we'll have to see. I will want to say that my co-commentator Havoc, he's having a bit of internet issues on his end. We'll see if he can get those resolved and actually join us in time for the start of the race. I will keep my fingers crossed. But we'll have to see. But either way, I'm more than happy to be here and keep you all company. As ISRL Lewis, he's starting his flying lap now in that Williams car. He's got a big seat to fill, taking over for Pubed, I believe. But we will see what kind of lap he can put here. As he's going around the S's, it loves to give that onboard camera through the S's, just to give you a feeling of how it is going, taking the left, the right, the left, the right. But yeah, so he comes around sector 1, sets that purple sector as we expected. Pops it right up into 4 out of 3, so he gets a very nice exit there. Let's see. Okay, perfect. Okay, now he's coming around the little bendy portion there, as I like to call it, due to lack of a better term. And I'm curious to see what kind of time he can put on the medium tires, and what the the benchmark time to start off is in this Q2 session. We already saw some pretty darn fast times in the qualifying 1, already squeezing into the 128s, which wasn't something we were seeing in the other tiers as far as I'm aware. So I'm a little curious to see if we're actually going to see any 127s before this qualifying session is over. Here we go. He's coming around the last chicane here. Lewis is. Now, what kind of time can he put to start off? And let's see. He crosses the line. Of course, so it's a 130.4. But he's on the medium tires, so probably not the pace that we're, going to see. Dan Murphy cross the line on the medium tires as well. He sets a 129.1, so a blistering fast lap on the medium tires from him. Definitely feeling them on the around Suzuka. So, you know, I expect some good things from Dan Murphy in this race. Scarlo crosses the line. He's also on the medium tires, setting a 129.9. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, remember that the tire, if you make it into Q3, the tire that you climb in Q2 will be the tire that you start with. So maybe you want to start on the soft tires just to have the pace out the gate. But you know, we'll have to see. Sweetcar 19, he said, you know, I'm going out in the soft tires. I just want to set that fast lap. So we'll have to see as more and more drivers are crossing the line. He sets a 128.7 on the soft tires. So that seems to be the pace we're going to see. Some 129s on the 129 to 130 on the medium, 128 to 129 on the softs here for Tier 1. On those soft tires, very fast racer, as I've said before. There's a reason why he is leading the charge. Oh no, internet connection quality is struggling here. I do apologize for everybody watching at home if the stream is lagging. Apparently my internet is struggling a little bit too. Here, let's the stream surviving. It is surviving just barely from what I can tell. I hope it's not lagging too much for those of you watching at home. But there we go. Sweetcar 19, that's a 128.1 in Q2. And, you know, nearly in that 127s like I was talking about earlier. But, you know, he's probably saving a little bit of pace for Q3. You know, can't show all your cards right off the bat. So here we go. Pretzel's squeezed into Q2. He's on the medium tires. We'll see what kind of time he can set as he's crossing the line now. So let's actually ride on board with him here as more drivers are setting times. Seems like 128, 129 is the you know, is the benchmark time here for Q3. Now, we'll see what he can do coming around the S's here. As, like I said, it loves that onboard shot going around the S's. I can't complain because I like the onboard shot too, but we'll see what kind of time Pretzels can set on those medium tires. 128.1 is the time to beat. Now, I am looking, at least initially, if you're Dan Murphy, I don't know if... Oh, no! Oh no, Pretzels, he clips the grass a little bit coming out of that hairpin, and that actually will affect his lap time very much so, as he lost a lot of time there having to recover the car. So it'll definitely affect his time. I'm not too sure if he's going to dive into the pit, switch the tires, and go out for another time, or if he's just, you know, going to power through, maybe try to set another lap. He hasn't played around with his ERS too much. He's still on ERS 4, so... I guess he's going for it, at least from what I can see. But we'll see what kind of time he can set as he's going around the last few chicanes here. And yeah, he's going to cross the line. No, he's going into the pits. He's going to switch the tires, as I thought. So let's switch over to Jer as he's just finishing up Sector 1. He set a very fast time in the Q1 session, and I expect no less from him going around Q2. But like I was mentioning, if you're Dan Murphy, you're sitting pretty comfortably in third on those medium tires. I don't even know if you even want to go out for another lap unless you absolutely have to, because you might have the strategy advantage against everybody else now, at least in the top 10. Other than Jamie 1, which, given that he set a 134 on those medium tires, I really don't think, at least for now, he's going to squeeze into Q3, at least with that time. But yeah, if you're on the medium tires sitting pretty right now, you know, you might want to just, you know, hang out in the pits, have a nice, you know, have some water, just chill out a little bit, because they seem pretty great to go out into Q3. But speaking of, he's actually going out on an outlap now, Dan Murphy is, as Jerry's crossing the line, and there we go. He's just a 128.4, good enough for second. So yeah, pretty solid time from Jer. Peeking at the chat, IGKX, what happened to Nick? I'm not too sure. I believe he invalidated his lap time, dove into the pits. Maybe he wasn't sure or maybe he didn't realize how little time was left in the qualifying session. But he actually wasn't able to set a time, you know, in time for the end of Q1. So unfortunately, he's watching from the sidelines. And, you know, that's a bit of a disadvantage if you're stuck watching this qualifying from the sidelines, because, you know, when you're into Q2, Q3, you're getting some extra lap reps going around. It's not like short qualifying that everybody can squeeze, you know, 2 to 4 laps in, when you're stuck in this full qualifying, if you're out in Q1, you just have to sit around for, nearly 30 minutes, just, watching racers go around. So, I mean, yeah, you can still kind of keep yourself in the mindset for it, but it's a lot harder compared to, if you're actually racing. So there we go. Dan Murphy's going around for another lap on those medium tires. Looks like it's the same set of medium tires, I believe. But we'll see what kind of time he can do if he's going to improve on that 129.1. He's currently in 4th. Now let's see. So we've got Pretzels and Maduck going out in their out laps. They're the only 2 drivers who haven't set times yet. And with 5 minutes to go, you're going to want to set a time sooner rather than later. Because, this qualifying time, it will run away on you. I see Mushroom Sucrow made a mistake on his lap. He definitely could have gotten a 127. Well, that's getting me excited for Q3. Because to be honest, he's a 128.1, sitting pretty nicely in first. I don't really see him going out on another lap, unless just for show. But yeah, let's see what Dan Murphy can do. Let's ride on board with him on this flying lap. Oh, wonderful. I'm hearing the stream is looking like a Minecraft video. Uh-oh, that's not very good. I am working to resolve the issue of the potato quality video. I do apologize for everybody watching at home. So I might, maybe between Q2 and Q3, I might just restart the stream quickly just to try to fix this issue. And I do, like I said, I do apologize for those watching at home. Here, bear with me a moment. I am just trying to troubleshoot the issue with the quality of the stream. Apologies if I'm going silent here. Just trying to troubleshoot this a little bit. Alrighty, so I will need to restart the stream just to try to fix the quality. I do apologize for everybody watching at home for the inconvenience in this matter, but like I said, I will shut off the stream and try to get this resolved for Q3 and the race. So I will be right back.